Okay, so welcome back. Let's go ahead and quickly do this and see how it's going to look like. So after changing the placeholder value, and then we need to give it a label. We need to give another label for select ID. We need to give a label for select ID. To do that, so let's go and give it a label for country. Try to put some space here. Let's give it another label. So for country, and then you click into for country, and then we give it for this country, we need to give it a select ID. We need to give it a select ID. So open a tag. Let's just select. Sorry about that. Let's just select. So open a tag, say select. Then we give it an ID, select ID. Give it ID of country. Over here, while we're giving a select ID of country, then we give it a country name. To select ID with a name. Name should be country. Okay, so and then when I start, we give it a option value. Put in the first option value. Put in the first option value. So let's say option. Option value. Value should be country. And then you write our country here, let's say Nigeria. I'm just going to duplicate this. I'm just going to duplicate this. Then I'm changing right here to South Africa. Change here to Ghana. Change here to Ghana. Then I'll change here to maybe Sudan. I mean, you can give it whatever tag you want to give, but let's save this and see what we've got so far. So I'm going to come over to our live server. I'm going to open a live server right now. Let me go back and see what we have so far. I don't know if you can see the screen. It's horrible,
yeah,
right? Please, can you see the screen? How does it look? It looks horrible, right? It looks very horrible, right?
Okay, although the screen I'm still seeing is still the text editor. I'm not seeing the browser.
Yes, what did you say, sir?
I said the screen I'm still seeing is still the browser, the code we have, the text editor. I'm not seeing the browser yet.
No, I've shared the browser screen. Let me hold on for a while. I don't know if anybody can see it.
Oh.
Have you started seeing the main screen, sir?
For me, the one I'm still seeing here is still the
code editor.
Yes, the code editor. Okay, the browser I've displayed.
Okay, maybe it could be your nectar. Okay, so you can see now. So it's not looking nice, looking too big. You know why it's like that? Because we added some CSS first, but when we're through, we've not defined the CSS properties for the rest. That's why it's like that. The last thing to do here is to add the text area. You can see you can select country and all of that. But so let's go back to the text editor and do something. So I'll come over here to my text editor. So let's continue. We're about rounding up with the form. So we need to give it a label. We need to give it a label of subject. Let's get the subject label for subject. Before we go back to the CSS, so let's give it another label for subject, and then we'll give it a div ID, give it an ID of text area. For subject, we need to give it an ID of subject. So we put in text area. So I come over here, say text area. Let's say text area. Give it an ID of subject. Let's say ID subject. And then you define give it a name. Find a name. Let's say subject 2. After the name, and then you give it a placeholder of write anything. So let's say, give it a placeholder. You can say write anything, or let's say tell us what you want. Now, please let me explain the essence of the placeholder here. Now, the placeholder, what this placeholder does is that it gives the user an idea of what the feed is talking about. So when the user goes to the front end of the website trying to feed a form, you see it tells the user what that feed is particularly meant for. For instance, this text area, we're asking the user to tell us what the user wants about our services because the user is trying to contact us. And now the first name, the placeholder for the first name will tell the user to enter your first name. And then the same goes for the last name. So that's the essence of the placeholder. After that, we need to give it a style. We need to style it. Let's say style. Give it a height of 200 pixels. Let's say height. At a height of 200 pixel. After giving it a height of 200 pixel, you can close the tag. So let's say close the tag. Close the tag. And then you give it an input type for submit. Let's create an input type immediately. Let's just do that very quickly. Let's say enter. Let's give it an input type of submit. So we're through with the form. Sorry about that. Let's come back here and save this. Let's go back to our screen and see what we've done. Please, can you see the screen? Please, can you all see the screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
Okay, so did you see the placeholder that said tell us what you want?
Yeah, I'm seeing.
Okay, you see the submit button right here, right?
Yeah.
So, but this is not looking nice. So let's go and define this thing. Let's go back to our CSS. We're going to go back to the CSS and then let's add the CSS properties for this form.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and add the CSS property for this form. So let me go back to styling. We stop at resize. So I'm going to click on enter. So we need to give it an input type. Let's design the input element. So that's what we're going to do next. Input type. Let's design the input type for submit and see how it's going to look like. So I'm going to come over here to my CSS, say input type for submit, and then now what you need to do first, after inserting the input type for submit, you need to give it a background color. Give it a background color of any type. Background color could be any, whatever color you choose for your form, whatever color you want for your form. For me, I'm just going to give it a background color of this. Let's say now the background color of any color you want. I mean, you can change this color if you want to. So green for me is this color, but you can change it to any type of color you want to. And then let's go ahead and add, after the background color, you need to give it a, put another color, let's say white. Let's say white. You can type in white if you want to. And then after the color, give it a padding of 12 pixel top and 12 pixel bottom. Give it a padding of 12 pixel top and 12 pixel bottom. 12 pixel top, 12 pixel bottom. Looks like there's a mistake somewhere. I'm trying to identify where the mistake is from. Okay, there's a mistake. I didn't close this. There's a mistake. So let me close it. Not this guy. Let me close this. Aha. So I've identified a mistake. And then let's give it a border of none. Let's give it a border. Let's say border none. Let's say border none. And after the border, you give a border radius and then cursor point. Give a border radius, and then after the border radius, give it a border radius of 4 pixel. 4 pixel. Thereafter, let's say mouse pointer, which is the cursor. Let's say cursor. Let's say cursor. Cursor should be pointer. So let's save this. Let's go back and see. Let's go back to our browser. Let's check this out. Just, can you see your screen?
Yeah, I can see the screen.
So you see that the button has changed. The submit button has changed.
Okay, yes.
Okay, let's go back to our code editor. The next we're going to be doing, we're going to be defining the input type for hover. And then all I just need to do is to copy this guy here. Copy this guy. Copy it. Paste it right here. Want to do that for hover. But first, I think, let me give a space and say hover. Let's give our hover a background color of, let's give it a background color. The background color. You can give it whatever color you want. You can put yellow, you can put white, so, but I give it my own color. Let's say F22. Let's give it a color of 1, 2, 3, 4. The next on our list for the CSS, so let's define the container. Let's design the container. So container. On the container, we need to give it a border radius of 5 pixels, border radius of 5. Sorry about that. Let's start this again. I think I made a mistake. So let's say container. So let's give it a border radius of 5 pixel, 5 pixel. And then after giving a border radius of 5 pixels, give it a background color, same color. Give it a background color. Let's give it a background color. Let's see. F2. But I need to change the hover color. I need to change the hover color to something else. I'm thinking of a color to give it the hover color. Let's see the hover color. So let's change that. All right, and the next on our container is give it a 20%, give it a padding of 20%. Padding of 20%. 20. Pixel, not percent. And then you save this. So let's go back to our browser and see what we've done. Really, this is still not looking nice. There's a mistake from this form. Let me reduce the sizes. So let me go back to my text editor. And try. So let's identify where the mistake is from the CSS. So let's check the body size. Just scale width. Okay. We didn't define this. Try and look at where the mistake is from. It's not looking nice. Let me go back to the code again.
Then it dropped that for
Let me go back to the code editor. Let's identify where the mistake is coming from. I think this guy here has to be the same.
Then it dropped that for you.
So let's save these. Let's see if there's some changes. All right. So please, can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see this.
So this is the form.
Okay.
So this is how to create a contact us form. I'm going to move over here and say, so on our text field, we have different kind of fields. Let me explain this quickly. We have checkbox. We have radio buttons. We have password field. So let's try the syntax for password field. Please, can you all see the screen?
Yeah.
So over here, let me go back to the code editor in case you want to add any field. Maybe you want to add any field. Let me go back to the code editor. So this is our field. This is where to add any field. Maybe you want to add another field. So maybe you give another level, let's say level of password, let's say level 4. Let's say password. So once you give it a level for password, and then you need to define the input type. We want to add another tag. So say the input type. Input type. Now, let me show you something from here. Let me go back to our field. Now, the input type for password is password. Let's say password input type equals to password, and then the name should be password, right? If you enter this tag, or your code editor is going to add another field. So let's save this and go back to our browser and see. This is the field we just added. It's not looking nice because we didn't define it in the CSS. For those of us joining us, we just created a form right now. Let's see how the form looks like. This is the form we created, and you can follow this example to create any form you want. All you just need to do for each field you need to add, you just need to add the input type of that field. I'm going to show us right here of different kind of input type. We have the one for password, checkbox, and then the submit, which we just did right away. But let me explain this. Let me explain the field. We have 11. There are 11 different types of form field. We have the text area, we have the button, we have checkbox, we also have password, we have radio, we have the set object, we have file upload, we have subject object, and then we have hidden. All of these are elements of different forms that you might want to be creating maybe for your visitors or for your client. So I think that's all for the forms. And then we want to move on to CSS. Very quickly, cascaded style sheet. I sent a PDF document this morning about JavaScript, cascaded style sheet, and then hypertext markup language. Now, CSS, what we just did, the CSS defines your web development project. CSS is basically used for design. CSS is basically used for design. It shows how your project looks like. For instance, when we were designing the form, it wasn't looking the way it is. We added some CSS. Okay, let's look at an ordered list. This is a raw form. Please, can you see my screen? Please, can you all see my screen?
Yeah.
All right, so when we were doing the ordered list and the testing list, the ordered list, you see, this one has no CSS. That's why it's like this. But when you come over to this form, why the form is like this is because we added some CSS properties to make it look nice. That's why we have something like this. So what the CSS does is that the CSS helps us modernize our project, makes our project looks nice, makes our project look unique. These are some elements of CSS that you can see. Please, I want you to study the material I gave you. You'll see everything about CSS there. There's not too much about CSS. CSS just help us to design and make our project look better. And then let me quickly say this about the 3 ways to insert CSS. We will be doing this using a web development project. And on Friday, we're going to start a full stack web development project. We're going to design our first website. Let's show us. I'm trying to work on something. This is a project that I've been working on. So we're going to design a video sharing website that like YouTube. But this is not going to be the first anyway. This is not going to be the first website we're going to be designing. We're going to start with a basic HTML website, with a 3-page website that tells that communicates very well. And after designing, we're going to see how we can upload it to the server. That's the only way I can use that to explain CSS. And then the inline styles of CSS. These are the inline types of CSS. Now, let me explain what an inline is. An inline style loses many of the advantages of a style sheet. Maybe by mixing content with presentation, then you use this method sparingly. Also, inline styles add the styles attribute to the relevant tag. The styles attribute can contain any CSS property. That's what the inline style does. So this is an internal style sheet style. What we did from our project, from this form. Let me show us from this.
I don't know the best way I see the ball last time. I see the ball.
Yes, can you mute yourself, Mr. Emmanuel? I can hear your voice. So let me explain this. This is the CSS. We just added the CSS, we put in the body, we define the properties of the element we had. And that's why you can see that that form was looking nice. I don't know if any of you have any question before I move on. Do any of us have any questions? Mr. Endurance are just joining us. Please, do you have any question?
I'm lost, but I don't want to take everybody back.
Okay, we just did the form. And then we did a form, we designed the form. We learned how to do some form and then we design it. That's basically what we did. And on our next tutorial, we're going to be designing a 3-page website. And then see how it's going to look. Let me show us. I'm going to show us. Let me share a screen of what we're going to be doing. We're about ending this video. So please, can you see my screen? We're going to be creating a website like this next, and then this is on Friday. We're going to be designing something like this. So please, I would love everybody to come with their laptop. So let's see if we can create something like this. While we're creating that, then we'll define some CSS and then we'll move on. For now, I might have to stop the class for today. Hoping to see you guys on Friday, and then we'll move on from there. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time. See you all on Friday.